Hey, what's up, Kings? So, this is the one thing that women just do not understand about men that are going to lead to more of them being single, alone, and miserable. See, I want to start off with this. Look, in today's time, women get a chance to decide, do they want to be in a traditional type relationship with a traditional type of man? Or do they want to be in a more liberal, modern lifestyle, which they can come and go as they please and do whatever they want to do without having to answer to a man in a traditional type of relationship. See, a lot of women have been confused and they have been sold a bill of goods from modern society that they can have it all, that they can have the benefits of being a modern liberal uh, woman in today's society, coming, going, and do whatever you want to do, but you're also going to be able to lock down a traditional type of relationship and traditional type of man. But the truth is, ladies, you can't have both. You have to make a decision what you want. And, this is just the world we live in. You cannot have both. Now, and the thing is for women, you have to make that decision as early as you can in life because you can't. A lot of women are being told, well, girl, you go out and live your best life, do whatever you want to do in your late teens, early 20s, even mid to late 30s. And then what they say is, what they've been told is, then after you've lived your wild life and you've sowed all your wild oats, you've done all these things, then when you're ready, you can settle down and you'll be able to find that good man who will be there for you and take care of you and do all these things. The high value guy. The problem is, ladies, is that those high value guys, there's one trait and one quality that you just do not understand, and it's very hard to explain. I'm gonna give it to you, and it's gonna make some of you upset. Don't be upset at me. I just want to be deliver the news so you can hear it and you can actually experience this information just directly from one of us. And there's just one trait that women tend to underestimate and not even realize that men have, that will make it virtually impossible for women to try to get the best of both worlds. So, and that one trait is quite simply, he doesn't need you. Okay? What I mean is that the higher value a man is, the less he needs, wants, or desires a long-term relationship. Let me make sure I say that one more time. The higher value a man is, the less he needs, wants, and desires a long-term relationship. In fact, the higher value a man, the happier he is single. See, for women, this is really hard to understand because women don't operate in this way, right? Women who want a traditional man and traditional relationship, they see that as what they are working towards. Does that make sense? So women who want a traditional relationship, now some of y'all don't want a traditional relationship, that's fine. But women who do want a traditional relationship, they see that as their end goal. So they see everything they're doing to work up to that moment, right? So that might include going to school, it might include getting a good job, it might include working on your cooking skills. It might, and for a lot of women, they've been told one of the things they need to be doing is going out and enjoying life and having fun and sleeping around and this kind of stuff. And they actually see this as a valuable thing that they're doing, getting these experiences and this kind of stuff. So for these women, the long-term goal is to eventually, once they've sown their wild oats and had a good time, to settle down and find a man who will provide for them emotionally, spiritually, relationally, financially, and of course, in all these other things, they want to find that good man. The problem is that men work exactly the opposite. See, the higher value a man gets in his life, the less he needs a woman, the less he wants one, the less he desires one. And here's why this is, ladies, and you have to hear the truth, and don't get upset at me when I say this, but it's important that you understand this. It's actually one of the most critically important things for women to understand. When a man takes on a girlfriend, a fiance, a wife, when he takes on this relationship, this role in a relationship, it represents only one thing in his life. Only one thing. And that is risk. That's it. That's the only thing that you bring to the table to a man within a long-term relationship. It's risk. I should say a couple more things. Risk is like the base summary, but there's several things that relationship brings to a man's life. It's risk, responsibility, and liability. See, when a man is single, he comes and goes when he pleases. He doesn't have to answer anybody. He works when he wants to. He lives in the house he wants to. He does these things, right? And on top of that, it allows him to have the mental freedom and clarity and the time, because he's not having to consider someone else, to build a kingdom, to build his life's work, right? And so he can build this and build this. And here's the cool thing as a guy. As a man builds, as a man grows and gets older and becomes more knowledgeable and experienced, he becomes more of a commodity in the sexual marketplace. You know what I'm talking about, ladies. You all want a guy who's got six-pack abs, 600 horsepower vehicle, 6-bedroom house, 6-figure income. What are some other sixes? You can name a bunch of sixes but you want a guy who has all these things. Well, how do you think a guy gets to that place? It's because he builds and he builds and he builds. See, there's a saying that I think it was Chris Rock said. He said that, and I totally accept this, and I put it in the front of some of my videos, which is women, children, and dogs are the only living things on this planet that are born, that are loved unconditionally. In other words, as a woman, you're essentially, your value in this world today is derivative off of your youth, beauty, and fertility. Now, I'm not saying this is the right way it should be. I'm just calling a spade for a spade. And people will get mad at me because I'm saying this, but I'm not trying to say this is the way it should be or whatever, or the way I like it. This is just the way things are. So as a man grows in his wealth, and he grows in his knowledge and experience and wisdom and his businesses, and he's growing his wealth, and he's growing his kingdom, all of a sudden he becomes a commodity in the sexual marketplace. Women that rejected him before, when he gave them the time of the day, now they're calling and blowing up his phone. They're asking for time with him. They're wanting to spend time with him and bring him gifts and bring him things and be submissive and cooperate. And as a man grows, so does his options. See, for women, it's the other way around. Women start with all the options in the sexual marketplace, and a woman in her early 20s, barring some massive issue they have physically or whatever, they start at the top. In other words, women in their early 20s can basically attract and sleep with any guy they want to. But as time goes on, that plummets. And I want you to know something, that plummets not only, and it plummets no matter what she does. Even if in her early 20s she starts college and she gets a big degree and she does all these kinds of things, her sexual marketplace value continues to fall. There's no way she can stop it, because men value sexual beauty. They value essentially purity or virtue, and they value cooperation. And this is what men value. Men don't. So, in other words, none of the stuff that she starts doing over time can add to that. It only actually seeks to distract from it and lower that. A woman gets a degree. If a woman gets a degree, it doesn't change how men are attracted to her. Sometimes it makes them less attractive. If a woman has a nice job, that doesn't change how attracted a man is to her. Sometimes it makes him less attractive to her. And that's because, a woman's wealth is not going to impact a man. It's not, at the end of the day, a woman's wealth does not impact a man. It doesn't change a man's life. I mean, think about it, ladies. Do you really want a man who you're having to pay the rent for, pay for clothes for, pay for all these things? No. Women want to marry up. They want to marry a man who makes more money than them, has greater wealth than them, and greater status than them. And they'll only stay with the man as long as he has it. They'll only stay happily with that man as long as those things are true. But with women, as she gains more and more of those things, that doesn't change anything for men. It doesn't change the attraction. A man will get into a relationship with a girl who works at the dollar store, or who doesn't even have a job. Men will get into a relationship with these women, right? Because the attraction for men isn't any of those things. Because men know that deep down inside, they're going to be held responsible for the condition of the family. They're going to be held responsible for the financial status of the family, for the safety and security. And at the end of the day, nothing that she brings to the table is going to change that. And this is especially true as men become higher value. So the lesson here, ladies, if you're watching, is remember, the higher value a man is, the less he needs you. And that's not meant to offend you. What that's meant for you to do is to help you understand why you may be experiencing some of the relationship problems you're having, where you can't seem to get a man to commit to you, or at least the guys you want. You can't seem to get a guy to take you serious. Well, it's because your mindset is wrong. You start with the mindset that men need you, because you've been told that your whole life, that a man needs you to complete him. But that's not true. That is the lower value men that this qualifies for. So the lower value a man is, the more he needs you. The higher value a man is, the less he needs you. And if you will understand this principle, and you will get this through your head, and you will let that sink in, and I know it's going to crush your ego. I know it's going to hurt your feelings, because in your mind you've been told, "Oh, I am gold." Like, as a woman, a man should be willing to give everything just to be with me, right? But what you're not seeing is the inherent risk that a man takes on when he goes into that relationship with you. So if you've ever wondered to yourself, why can't I get this guy to commit to me? Why can't I get this guy? Ask yourself, what do you bring to the table? What do you have besides sex to offer this man? And be honest with yourself. Look yourself in the mirror and say, what do I have? What am I bringing to the table besides sex? And see, this is part of the problem is ladies have been told their whole lives that sex is somehow reward from women to men. It's not. Sex is an equal transaction. You both enjoy it. You both get pleasure out of it. Your sex is not payment for high value, especially for high value. As men, once again, as men become high value, the less that becomes true. Yes, for the lowest tier guy who has nothing going on in his life, he has no social status, he has no wealth, he has no independent thought, he's not strong, he's not a leader, he's not mature. Yeah, he'll be happy to pay for sex, and you can think of this as a skill. The low value men are the guys who pay for sex. They're the ones who pay to play. Why? Because they have nothing else to bring to the table. And at that low scale, you as women, you don't respect it. You don't really desire these guys. You don't desire a guy who's willing to pay you for sex, right? That doesn't really get you going. What you desire is a man who doesn't need that. He's like, no, I'm good. A man who as a woman, you have to work for. And this is the difference. If you want the high value guy, you have to understand he doesn't need you. He doesn't want to be in a relationship with you. Right? You have to understand this. And ironically, it's the understanding of this that will allow you to capture the high value man's heart. It's the ability for you to be able to say, look, baby, whatever you want, I want to be that. I want to put your happiness first and foremost. And I know this is a bitter pill to swallow, and this is why, personally, I understand the apply. As a father myself, I don't know if I would want my daughter to be in a traditional relationship, because to be in a traditional relationship, it means to submit to a man in his direction. And let's face facts, most men are not up here. 99% of men are down here. They're not leaders. They can't teach. They can't guide. They're not protectors. They're desperate, weak, and needy. And so I totally understand this. And I don't know if I'd want that for my daughter. But once again, the thing is, ladies, you have to decide what you want. Do you want to try to find a traditional man, in a traditional relationship that will be that man for you? Well, then you're going to have to work for that. It's not going to be given to you. And the time to work for that is not after you have spoiled all of the things that these high value men want. High value men value sexual appeal, fertility, cooperation. That's it. If you can find a way to do those things and be those things for a man that you've picked, then you can have that traditional relationship. But this is a lot of work. It's a lot of sacrifice, and a lot of women are not ready to make that sacrifice because they want to live the dream that they've been sold. And I frankly don't blame you. You know, I think I did a video on this already where I'm like, maybe women just need to embrace being the side chick. Just embrace that lifestyle. It's easier. You can come and go as you please. You don't have to answer. You don't have to answer to a man. You don't have to be responsible to a relationship. You can just do whatever you want, whenever you want to do it, and enjoy your life. And if that's what you want for yourself, do it. But don't be upset later on in life when you realize deep down inside, man, I wish I had a more traditional relationship. I wish I had these things. Because the problem is, ladies, when you get to that point, it's too late. It's too late, and you can be mad about it. You can be upset. These older guys just want the younger women. Okay, be upset. Why do us older, more mature, higher value men date younger women? Because we can. Why don't we date older women who have been worn out, who have been around the block a bunch of times and been run through? Because we don't have to. And you can be upset about it. You can be angry. And all that kind of stuff, but it's not going to change how things operate. There's an old saying that says you can ignore reality, but you can't ignore the consequences of ignoring reality. And so this video was just a little wake-up call, some harsh truth. Like I said, I understand it's going to make some people upset. I'm not trying to say this is the way things should be or that I'm necessarily excited about the way things are, but things are the way they are. Men and women want each other for very different reasons. Men are viewed as success objects, whether I like that or not. Truth be told, that kind of sucks. It kind of sucks that that women are attracted to men based upon their success and perceived value. Because truth be told, it's hard to get up to that level as a man. It is hard. I mean, unless you have gotten a real big helping hand or you just had some great luck, it's hard to get yourself up to a certain level. It takes hard work and dedication. So would I prefer that not to be the case? Would I prefer women not to give a damn about how much I make or these kinds of things? Yeah, that would be awesome. But that's not the way it is. And the same is true for ladies. Would it be nice if men valued other things besides? Yeah, of course. But that's not the way it is. Us men, the higher value we become, the more aware we become of the liability and risk of long-term relationships. And the more we run from them. High value men run from these relationships because they're traps, they're prisons. And the more aware he becomes, the more wise, the more wisdom he has with them, the less he's interested in that lifestyle. He would rather come and live free, come and go as he pleases, have relationships with whoever he wants, whenever he wants to have them, and not have to answer to anyone. And because of doing that, gain more favor, get pursued by more women. Ladies, you have to decide. Do you want a traditional relationship with a traditional man? Or do you want to live free, live wild, and pursue your own ambitions? I don't believe there's necessarily anything wrong with either of those options. I think that for some women, they want to have that traditional man, traditional relationship, and that's what they want. That's what makes them fulfilled. I do believe that happens to be most women. But there are also women who don't want that for themselves. They want to have the power. They want to have full control over themselves. And guess what? We live in a free modern world, especially in America, where you get to make that decision. But the key here is, ladies, you have to make that decision. You have to decide what you want, because unlike what you've been sold in fairy tales and books and all that kind of stuff, you just can't have it all. So this has been of Kings and Queens. My name's Eddie. Thanks for listening. Please like and subscribe to the video. I'd love to hear your comments on this topic, both from the men out there and from the women. Please subscribe and click that notification bell. Hope you got a lot out of this video. Thanks.